All right, hello everybody. Hello. This is Ricky Mike, and thank you for tuning in. I guess if you saw the title of the of the video, then this is basically a recap of a draft league slash tournament slash off season that we ended up playing on for the CLDL server, the Cult of Larry Draft League server. Um, which is a pretty cool place. If you don't know it, you should definitely go check it out. Um, they have some really cool people there. It was started by um, some good guys that I met through a Pokemon podcast, and um, they had a draft league there. But as they grew and they wanted to focus more on the competitive side of things, they decided to create their own independent draft league server, which ended up resulting on they creating their own server. Now, granted, they only do exclusively showdown leagues, so I actually have never played there before. But they were advertising their off season because they're in between seasons right now, and I saw this little banner. Um, And if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, which is one of my favorite series when I was a kid, um, this is the Cucumber Cup, which is the typical name of their off-season. But in this case, it is the Battle City. So what does that mean? Um, well, I'm gonna try to explain. I mean, if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, you probably know what it is. It's probably the best arc on the entire anime, in my opinion, especially the finals. But if you don't, to make it short, it's basically they unleash a bunch of duelists on this city, and everybody was free to challenge anybody that they want. And essentially, the rule was if you challenge somebody and you beat them, you get to take their most valuable card. So I guess they thought it would be a pretty cool gimmick to do that for a tournament. So essentially, the way that this will work is everybody that signs up gets put into a pool. You draft a team of exactly eight Pokemon, and you have to essentially you have to battle your way to try to make top cut, which is a bracket, I guess. And as you are winning your games, you end up getting new Pokemon added to your roster. Potentially the best Pokemon on your opponent's roster or the best one that fits into your roster, which it is a pretty cool concept. I mean, I love it. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I love this idea. I love playing with broken stuff. So, you know, by the time you make, playoffs, or if you make playoffs, you can imagine the teams are completely cracked. So I was a big fan of that. So I decided that I wanted to participate into this. So I signed up for it, and yeah, let's do it. Uh, this is a bit different to what we usually do in the channel because I usually just post Wi-Fi leaks because I enjoy playing the game. But I do play on showdowns from time to time, showdown leagues, and I do okay. I mean, it is a bit different of a gameplay wise because there is certain information there that is not available in the cartridge. Uh, but essentially, it's the same game, right? So anyways, I think that if you're going to show that, if you're good on Wi-Fi, you're good on show them. Um, but anyways, that's a topic for another time. So like I said, we decided to participate, and yeah, we ended up getting put on the Red Eyes Black Dragon pool, which is completely not important here. But I guess I'll go ahead and show you what my team is. Like I said, this you have to draft 8 Pokemon, and you have a budget of 90 points. Now, this is actually a Nat Dex format, with the only team banned being Hidden Power and I believe Pursuit. I think the deleted moves are banned. Don't quote me on that. Or I think the only thing banned might be Hidden Power. I'm not sure. I don't remember. That's the problem. That's my issue with showdown leagues, right? So many different rules. It's hard to keep up. Anyways, we were given what we were giving, and yeah, I figured I'll show you exactly what my roster ended up being. uh, live and in person. So for our first pick, we decided we're gonna go ahead and grab Orgopon Harfling. And keep in mind, this with everything allowed on this in here, the only things not allowed as far as mechanics were C moves and Dynamax. So and terrestrializations. The only mechanic I guess allowed was Mega Evolution. So we could have taken a Mega Evolution for our first round, but we decided to grab Orgopon Harfling instead. Now, which Orgapon Harpling is an absolutely great Pokemon. Is he busted with Terra? Of course, but without Terra, I still think it's great. The staff combination of fire and grass is great, and it does have a lot of coverage. So I think it's a great Pokemon. Maybe not the round one pick on something that allows so much, but the reason why we decided to grab it round one is because this Pokemon, out of a 19 maximal amount of points, was actually valued at 11 points. Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. I think this was the cheapest Orgapon, which is absolutely crazy. I don't know who made that decision. I asked if it was making a mistake and was told that no, that this Pokemon is just not good on National Dex. I don't play National Dex a ton, or at least not enough to know the meta, but I don't agree with that, dude. This Pokemon is so good, and the main thing that I get from this is being able to I guess have more points available to grab more broken Pokemon, right? So anyways, that's gonna be our first pick, and I was very happy with it. We'll see if it actually pays off during the season, I guess, or the tournament. But yeah, very happy with it. Now for our second pick, I decided to go with the best Pokemon in the game. I don't care what anybody says, Landorus Tyrian. Because this is non-nerf Landorus, so this Landorus gets all its utility moves except Hidden Power. It gets Toxic, it gets Knockoff, it gets Defog, which makes it a better Pokemon than Great-Toss, in my opinion. You can find me on that. But anyways, like I said, hence this thing is valued basically 1 point less than the maximum amount of points, which is 18 points. But this gives me this is just the Swiss knife of Pokemon, right? It gives you offense, it gets rock polish as well, in case I want to sweep with that. So you get utility, you get offense, you get defense, you get pivot. This is the perfect Pokemon. I don't care what anybody says. So great pair between Orgapong and Landorus, in my opinion, because Orgapong obviously doesn't want to have Steelrocks on the field if he wants to do his job effectively. But anyways, for my third pick, I decided to grab one of my favorite Mega Evolution, and probably one of the best ones in my opinion, which is also super expensive. We decided to go with Mega Sisters, the good old reliable. I love this Pokemon. I have drafted it before many times, and it never disappoints. It's just, it fits my playstyle so much better. I understand people will tell you that Mega Mobile is better, Mega Galley is better, and that's fine. It's whatever. I like Sisters. It feels my playstyle better. So yeah, I will take this Pokemon over any other Mega Evolution, except maybe make a Charizard X, just because I really like that Pokemon. And Charizard is my favorite Pokemon. So anyways, for my third pick, I decided to grab another one of my favorites. And I think that pairs very well with my current team. I decided to grab Tapu Fini. Because of course I needed a fairy. Because every good team needs a fairy in National Dex for Mega Leagues. Not necessarily in Paldea, but again, it gives me more default options. It's just an incredibly good defensive wall. I mean, the only bad thing you can say about Tapu Fini is that it doesn't get reliable recovery. Other than that, Tapu Fini is just a fantastic Pokemon. It is my second favorite Tapu after Tapu Koko, and just because Tapu Koko is hella offensive. But other than that, Tapu Fini is great, and I feel like it fits this team incredibly well. But talking about Tapu Koko, we're not going to grab Tapu Koko, but we're going to grab the second best electric type in Zeraora, which I have also drafted before. I love Zeraora. I'm going to keep saying these are some of my favorite Pokemons, but they are. And I don't know what to tell you. The speed tier on Zeraora is amazing, and it doesn't give the most coverage in the war, but it gets enough to be an incredible potent danger to any team. And even if it's not end up being a sweeper or a breaker, you can be a very good utility because we do get the toxic, we do get knockoff. And also Zeraora underrated on the special side, in my opinion, because this Pokemon can actually Calm Mind and Sweep. I have run those sets before, and I know I'm running it again in the future. Yeah, I hate that it is not on Gen 9, but in National Dex, we're gonna take it. But this is what I mean, right? By being able to spend only 11 points on Orgapon, which is a fantastic Pokemon, I got a stacked team on this with the next 4 picks in general. So I'm very happy with that. However, I'm kind of running out of points at this point and still have to draft 3 more Pokemon. So looking at what I have, the one thing that I don't have is a Dark type, and I also, although I do have Stealth Rocks and Spikes on Landorus and Orgapon, I don't wanna I guess box them into having to run those sets all the time. So I decided to grab a bit of a left field pick in Quillfish Hisuian because I mean it's a dark type, it's bulky enough with the Eviolite, which I prefer to run, to be honest with you. It gives me a grounding poison, which is good because toxic spikes are bad for Tapu Fini because it does get poison before the terrain gets activated, and now I have spikes and toxic spikes on the roster as well. Only 4 points left, so I have to be very careful about what I'm gonna grab. I'm still missing a few types. As you can see, I don't have a dragon type, and spoiler, I'm not going to have a dragon type, but I do have a terrain setter. So anytime I draft a terrain setter, one of the premier picks that I try to grab because it's always so cheap is this Pokemon, is Driftling, because Driftling is underrated in my opinion. If you go back to my first WPF season, you can see that I sweep an entire team with this, and that team had Chienpao on it. So yeah, this Pokemon can get out of hand really fast because onboarding is great, and it has access to one of the most broken moves in the game, Strength Up, which is a dumb move in my opinion. And then you can set up all day with Calm Mind, or you can even go physical with the Acrobatics set. So yeah, it gives me a Ghost type, it gives me another Flying type I suppose, and it gives me more defog, which is always good for Orgapon. And with my last point, there's I'm just gonna grab a meme pick because there's really nothing else to pick. But I'm going to grab the Goat. I need a normal type. I'm probably never gonna bring it, but yeah, I'm just gonna grab Onkolong. I mean, this thing can technically work. I've seen it do work. Unfortunately, it needs Terra, but hey, that ability that it has, the Sweet Aroma or whatever it's called, oh, it's right there, is something aroma. It can be very annoying. It's like a mommy at home that it can disable abilities if you touch it. So maybe if we are in a good position, we can end up using it. If we're in a game that we really don't need to win, I guess, or we don't need to be too serious, we can bring it and mess around with it. I think it will be fun. Never drafted this Pokemon before, probably will never again, but on this scenario I think it's good. But anyway, that's the team. As you can see, I'm missing several types. I don't have a fighting type, I don't have an ice type, I don't have a dragon type, I don't have a rock type, and I don't have a psychic type, but hopefully with this format I'll be able to patch those holes once I'm able to pick up some other Pokemon. So yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started. So for our first match, we got paired against Pokemon Master 335 something, and he had a interesting team. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the game. All right, so for this game, I decided to bring two of my meme picks into the Quillfish and the Driftling. The main reason why I decided to bring the Quillfish in this game is because he has a Mega Latios. That is a Mega Latios, which is incredibly scary for my team. Yeah, I realized Tapu Fini is a very bulky wall, but this Mega Latios, what is it called? Luster Perch completely destroys me, especially if he gets the defense drop, which with my luck, it probably will. and he also gets access to mystical power to destroy Caesars. So I had to be extremely careful about that against that Latios. Other than that, my opponent has just a lot of breakers. There's a Luna and the Palafin and the Melmetal, and of course the pivot on the Deoxys. And on top of that, he decided to bring this Miracle, which is annoying. I don't know, this thing can do whatever it wants, so I have to be careful about whatever they decide to bring. So yeah, let's see how this plays out real quick. Alright, so I knew that he was gonna leave either Deoxys or Smeargle, so I decided to dream with my Orgapon. All my nicknames are Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way, so if you don't know what it is, then it is what it is. I didn't want to get paralyzed or sleep paralyzed, I guess, on the Orgapon. I knew he was gonna set up some sort of hazard, so between the U-turn and the priority, we ended up getting rid of the Smeargle without it doing too much damage. He does bring immediately the Latios, which is, exactly what we brought the Quillfish for. And look at that. Look at that. We absolutely get destroyed by one single Draco Meteor. So, but at least he lowered his special attack. So, and this thing doesn't get taunt. So we're gonna come in. We're gonna immediately defog this. I don't want to be messing around. I do have the Orgapon, which is my fastest threat, and I don't want him taking any kind of damage. For some reason, this person brought Swagger, which I'll take, I guess, as long as I don't hit myself. I almost won't hit KO this Deoxys, as they're gonna teleport out into Palafin. Now this is the problem with Palafin, you need a free turn, so I am going to take advantage of that and just source them on it. He wasn't never gonna attack me, and now you're in trouble because I have a +2 Orgapon. I'm wondering what's he gonna go into. They go into Ursaluna. I can kill it with a power wheel. Unfortunately, we miss. But I think they're like some sort of assault best set. So we managed to leave the earthquake and we kill it with the power wheel. Unfortunately, because we took that damage, I cannot take a banded jet punch anymore. If it was a full, I could. I have enough investment to be able to take it. But we always have Tapu Fini. He did end up bringing a Volcast Save. Luckily, I decided to bring a Choice Card Save Tapu Fini just because his team just didn't, outside the Melmetal, he didn't really enjoy taking Moonblast. And it helps with Palafin, I guess. So, goes into the Melmetal, which is fine. I do have a defensive Rocky Helmet Landorus, which, it will take a lot of damage from the double Iron Bash, but at least it chips it, so I can, finish it off with Tapu Fini. And like I said, Scar Tapu Fini, great choice, right? Because why are you gonna switch into the Metal and take a ton of damage from the Rocky Helmet? I mean, you could, but you will probably die to the next 2 hits, which I'm pretty sure that is the case. So Landorus is gonna do his job, and at this point, Scissors just needs to come in and clean up. We're gonna go for the knockoff because I don't want to use close combat against that team and lower my defenses. There's nothing this thing can do to kill me on one hit, so we're just gonna U-turn out into the Tapu Fini. Body Slam will probably be the only thing or Giga Impact will be the only thing that he could have to one-shot me, but I do have the Grass Knot that does a little bit more damage than the thing, and he's just gonna go ahead and kill himself with the Wave Crash. So Tapu Fini is gonna end up putting on the finest of work. And we are gonna end up taking the 4-0 victory, which is great. And we're gonna go ahead and now my opponent's team has a lot of good Pokemon, but as I mentioned before, I don't have a Dragon type, so we're gonna go ahead and take the Mega Latios as our prize because I understand I already had a Mega, and that's fine. But number one, Scissors is very good, but it has its weaknesses, so I may decide not to bring it in a matchup. Like if I face Sun, for example, Scissors is completely useless, so I will gladly bring Mega Latios, which I think is an absolutely broken Pokemon. Unfortunately, if I ever bring Latios and Scissors, they both have to be carrying their stuns, but that is fine. I don't need to bring them. I'm a big fan of having more than one Mega on your roster if possible, because it forces your opponent to have to prep for multiple different threats. So besides, I didn't really like anything else on his team that I needed, to be honest. Ursaluna already have a ground type. The Deoxys is too passive, I think, at least for this meta. So we are just gonna take the we're gonna take Megalarius and we're gonna move on. Into week 2, we ended up getting paired against our good old pal Dr. Geo, which is actually one of the head mods of the server. I think he's might be one of the co-owners, to be honest. Anyways, always great matches against him. He this is actually kind of a rematch of the annual OU tournament that's podcast server that I mentioned before has. I did manage to edge him out on a 2-1 on a best of 3 games. So I was sure that he was coming for blood on this game. But yeah, you get paired against our opponent that has either your same record or a similar record. So, to make it fair for people that are losing. So at this point, we both were 1-1 in week 2. You can see his team is incredibly scary. I think he picked up the Iron Valiant on the after winning his first game, which is problematic. I don't think it's a very good Pokemon, but it always gives me trouble whenever I had to face him. So we'll see what we can do. On this game, Sarah Aura is going to be making its debut because it just has a good time if I can get rid of certain things. So hopefully we can put on a lot of work. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at how this plays out. Alright, so they're gonna leave with Meowscarada as I leave with my Akashi, the Orgrimmon Heartflame. They're gonna go ahead and U-turn. And I take a ton of damage, so that immediately tells me that thing's Choice Banded. So unfortunately, I decided to go for Trailblaze, and I'm not sure why. I think maybe Greatos? I'm not sure why I decided to go for that. But anyways, they're gonna go into the Rotom Heat, which is a very good wall. I didn't consider it, I guess. Them bringing it, so... Luckily, I knock off his heavy duty boots. Luckily for me, they missed the Thunder Wave. I decided to go into the Frightful, and they won't go to the one thing I cannot Toxic, which is incredibly annoying. But I am something of a utility set, so I can at least go ahead and ball switch out. They're gonna set up their Stealth Rocks. It is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and Mega Evolve my Scissors. Take this opportunity to Mega Evolve my Scissors, and we'll go ahead and get rid of those rocks. We don't care about being slow. You shouldn't be able to do much to this. They tried to go to Encore, preventing my U-turn. I didn't call that out, but it was a good thing to go into. Landorus, we get rid of the thing. I guess they didn't think that I will actually Earthquake. But anyways, they go to their booster speed Greatos, which is scary. But luckily, I brought the fanciest of the fanciest. Tapu Fini, we're gonna one-shot it because they decided to lower the defenses with Headlong Rush and recover a little bit of help with our leftovers. They go back to the Choice Banded Meowscarada. I knew they were gonna U-turn, but I can't do nothing about that. They're gonna go into their freaking Megalarios because of course I had to place another one this week. Luckily, I brought a very bulky Zeraora, so we managed to take that hit. Maybe I should have gone for Toxic there. I decided to just go out, and I go out into my Clodion, which unfortunately is not Misty Seed. It is, I believe it was Keyberry for coming in on the Meowscarada on a U-turn, which I should have done last turn. Anyways, now I realize what I'm doing. I stopped being dumb and decided to go on Toxic to put it on a timer. Unfortunately, he crits me. I'm pretty sure I leave that Luster Perch if he doesn't crit me. They are gonna withdraw as I U-turn into the Rotom. Now I'm not sure why I'm going to my Akashi here because I don't have Rock Tomb, so I don't have enough power to kill it. Knockoff should be able to two-shot it at least, and they do not want to lower their staff. Unfortunately, we do get paralyzed, which is gonna allow them to two-shot our Orgrimmon, which sucks, but at least we can go into Marine's. I was hoping that was faster, but I just wasn't, I guess. I didn't have any speed, so even if he didn't have any speed, he would be faster. But it was my best switch to it, to be honest. They're gonna go Meowscarada and hit me with a huge knockoff, which, because I am so low, is gonna take me out, which is unfortunate, but so such is life. I do go into Scissor because I have a free U-turn. As they go to the Iron Valiant, which is not booster, which is annoying because I prefer to face boosters because I force them out. He's actually gonna stay in, even though I think he knows that I'm Choice Scarf, but great play on them. If I Earthquake, I kill this, but he has a Larios, so if he goes to Larios, I'm kind of screwed. Thankfully, Scissors is a goat and lives on 1%, and is able to kill it with the Bullet Punch. They go into their Larios, and I'm able to do a ton of damage. As I go into Landorus, and I am choice Scars, so I should be able to lock into U-turn and kill this. And I'm like, okay, well, we probably got this because Masquerada, if it doesn't change types. Unfortunately, they do have the Bandit Sucker Punch, which makes it only 2 times weak, and it's just enough to kill me. That was so close, dude. I mean, if I put a little bit more bulk on my Landorus, we would have taken that game. But great prep on his part, man. This choice Bandit Masquerada was a bold play to bring versus a Mega Scissors, but it ended up paying very well for his team. So yeah, we'll take the loss, and we'll move it to number 3 to week number 3 with only 2 with a 1-1 record, which is fine. It's not bad. Unfortunately, we're not able to take any of his Pokemon. I think that if I have won, I would have probably tried to take the Iron Valiant just because I still don't have a fighting type, I think, and it would have been good. Maybe the Masquerada wouldn't have been bad. Just judging on the performance, but this was such a close game, man. It's always fun to play Geo. So yeah, no complaints. Like I said, I of course I would have like to have won, but I can't complain for such a great game, especially after I leave that 1% on the Scissors. That was such a clutch leave on Scissors. But anyways, week number 3, we are getting paired against deleted user. No, that's not a mistake. That's his actual username. I guess they must have been 1-1 as well. And as you can see, they have a very interesting team, because I will say they don't have super top Pokemon. I mean, I love the Zapdos. Zapdos is a great Pokemon, and that is a Mega Medichance. So, and the Ursaluna is always a problem. Okay, I don't know what I'm saying. This is a good team. It's just, I will say 5 of my Pokemon are better than 5 of his Pokemon, but you always have to be careful with these type of teams. We'll see how this plays out. Alright, they're gonna lead with Zapdos, as I'm going to lead with my Gyukin Bakugan. I'm not sure why I did that, to be honest with you, but I can start setting up my spikes. I realize the Zapdos can just defog them, but that's fine. I don't mind. I do manage to go into Exodia to try to Toxic it, to be honest, and they're gonna have the exact same idea, which is fine. I mean, we don't mind. If I'm Toxic, that means I'm not gonna be able to get paralyzed, so I can just freely U-turn on it, which as weird as this may sound, I prefer to be Toxic than paralyzed with Landorus specifically. I'm going to make onto my Mega Latios, but I decided not to Mega Evolve it, which may have been a mistake, I guess, because I would have killed it. But thankfully, the Toxic is able to help me kill it. As they go to the Ursaluna, and this is the reason why I brought Latios. Ursaluna is an extremely scary Pokemon, and I did not have any switches to it. However, it becomes a lot more manageable when you have screens. So I'm able to set up a screen on it, and as you can see, even with the Toxic, the Blood Moon is not able to kill me. And then it's a free switch into Scissors, which is able to just U-turn out on it, and then we go into Landorus, and now he's on a little bit of a vortex. They're gonna go into Picharon, which is not boots, so it's gonna have to take damage. Now an Earthquake there would have been fantastic, and I don't know why I didn't go for it. Maybe I was afraid that I wouldn't kill the Ursaluna. But now I go into my Jigen Bakugan, which actually does have a way to hit it. Unfortunately, this thing is so stupidly bulky that it's taking no damage from my crunches. So yeah, and now he's just boosting on me, and he's just gonna heal, which is annoying. So well, if that's the game we're gonna play, then I'm just gonna spike you up, and you're gonna I just use something else to deal with you. It is wearing me down, even though it's not doing a lot of damage. I had no recovery on this thing. I decided not to bring Pain Split, I guess. So at this point, I'm trying to get like the defense drop, which thankfully this crunch does get it. So I should be doing a lot more damage. But I think that he was gonna kill me because he went for another boost. Unfortunately, he goes for a recall, which means that my Destiny Bond is gonna fail. They go into the Regenerator Mon, and unfortunately, they're gonna be able to spam the hazards that I worked so hard to set up. I do go for the Destiny Bond, so if he wants to kill me next turn, he kills itself as well. And as I know that they're gonna switch, I set up a spike. I did bring a defensive Tapu Fini to be able to switch into the Samurott. Unfortunately, they can, just say spikes for free. I prefer not to have spikes on my side if they're gonna have spikes on there. Luckily, I'm able to switch in my Jigen Bakugan, and it does live on a sliver because Pecharon is not very strong if it doesn't have any boosts. I do go for the Destiny Bone again in case he wants to go into the Cyclizar, and we're just stuck on this loop at this point, which is annoying, because now he's in the Destiny Bone, so he knows that he can kill if he kills me, whatnot. Now not sure why he doesn't kill me just here. I guess he wanted to be as boosted and healthy as possible by the time that he kills me, but at this point I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna Destiny one, and then if you rapid spin you kill yourself, and then I go for the crunch. I do a good amount of damage, but it's still not enough to two-shot it because again this Pokemon is so stupidly bulky. I just go for the Destiny one because they want to kill me, and they just go for the recover, which is annoying and boring, but that's just how this thing is ended up playing off. I mean, there are strategies to why we're doing what we're doing. As I'm trying to get a defense drop so I can do more damage. I do a good chunk with crunch. They're gonna rapid spin here because I didn't Destiny one, which is fine with me actually, because at this point he has to take the Rocky Helmet damage. My landers can always just U-turn out. They're actually gonna go into Summer, expecting me to, I guess, Earthquake their Pacharon, but there's no reason for me not to just U-turn out. Unfortunately, they get to U-turn as well. As I bring Caesar, I'm just gonna U-turn out because draft player is gonna is gonna click U-turn, right? And we're back to this freaking nonsense, dude. He's just gonna boost. I'm gonna click Destiny one. I think at this point I should probably just spike. I could have crunch, but it's not gonna do enough. He's finally gonna kill me. Thank you. So now I can go into Latios, and I should have a pretty decent hit into something. I do go for the Luster Punch because I didn't think they were gonna bring their Samurott, and I do manage to catch the Ursaluna. And we ended up two-shotting it. I am running out of health, unfortunately. I think at this point, maybe I should have scouted to see if it was Scarf, but I do have a Tapu Fini. That is, a great switch to this, as they just go for the thing. I think they might be banded, just judging how much damage that does. As you may have noticed, I am a Telepathy Tapu Fini because I wanted to be able to Toxic Stab and catch burns, and I do manage to get a burn into the Pacharon right before he kills me, which is gonna nullify his Black Sludge, which is good for me because it allows me to, have the thing. I didn't want to take a risk in here because I do want to set myself up, so I'm gonna just go for the Reflecting there, rather than trying to go for a Draco and either missing or something else. Plus, I do have an idea of how I can win this game. They're gonna start stacking me up, which sucks, but ultimately my Serora does have boots, and it is faster than Cyclizar. They're gonna try to go out into their Pacharon to, I guess, sack it to be able to get a free switch. Unfortunately for them, I am take this opportunity to start setting up with Serora. And like I said before, don't underestimate the special set because this Pokemon is incredibly dangerous. They're gonna go into their Medicine, try to fake me out. That's a good chunk. But it doesn't kill me, and then on the crackback, the Thunderbolt is just straight up gonna one-shot it because Zara is a fantastic Pokemon, and we do have all the coverage to be able to kill it. I believe the last move in Zara was Grass Knot to... I actually don't remember what the last move in Zara was, to be honest with you. I don't think Grass Knot was needed because... Oh, it was Grass Knot for the Ursaluna. It does a ton of damage because that thing is so heavy. So we're gonna end up taking another 4-0 victory, which is great. And in this case, I guess the Pokemon we're gonna select from his team is the Samurai H. This gives me another water type, but it also gives me a dark type that is better than the Quillfish. And realistically, that's a better job than Quillfish at setting up spikes, which is the main reason why I got Quillfish. If people want to bring, toxic spikes versus me, so be it. But I know from prep, having to prep against Hisuian Samuro, that having to prep for it is just Very annoying because, you know, again, it sets up spikes as you as it attacks, and it hits really hard with sharpness. So, you know, I shouldn't need to explain this to you. I'm sure you know very well how the Mega Samurai works, or whatever his name is. So yeah. Anyways, on to week number 4. This time we're getting paired against our good buddy Shark Finnegan. And they have another Palafin, as well as other threats. I believe that is also a Mega Scissors, so, you know, a Spider-Man mean, you know. They also have a lot of other good Pokemon on their team. What do I have to say? I'm bringing the double Mega again. I'm not sure why, to be honest with you. It's been a while since I played this game. Maybe there wasn't just another Pokemon that I could bring. But, you know, I'll Mega Evolve them as it is. And Samurott is making his debut. As well. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. So they're gonna live with a Hatterene, which is fine with me. I mean, perfect. I was just gonna live with my Samurott, and I'll set up Swordsland because I think I'm Focus Sash. They did go for the Trick Room, and I know those shenanigans, so I'm not gonna let you kill me. So we just go into the Scissors because it resists any move except the Fire move. I didn't think that we were going to go for the Fire move. Should be able to resist most moves. Unfortunately, he paralyzes me, but that ended up being good for me because it makes me slower on the Trick Room. Unfortunately, I do get paralyzed on the Crackback, which means that he can take me out, but his Trick Room has run out. He does have a defense boost, but he cannot Terra, so Landorus should be able to kill it. Unfortunately, they're going to go into their own Landorus, which is fine. I just needed to force that out, I guess. They're going to go for the rocks because they knew I had to leave. But I'm going to start trying to set up on this. Unfortunately, they did bring the Toxic set, which sucks. At this point, I guess I just need to boost up as much as I can and do as much damage as I can before I die. They're going to go into their Mega Scissors and just straight up Terra it. Mega Bulb it. I'm gonna go for a +2 Shadow Ball that apparently is not enough to shot it, and he's just gonna Source Dance. It's gonna do a ton of damage, even though I do have the Key Berry boost from that U-turn. But like I said, it's not enough to kill it, which sucks, man. I'm gonna go to my Landorus to just reduce his attack a little bit and kill it with a U-turn. Maybe I should just go to Scissors, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, because, you know, you can see how much damage my Landorus had to take for that, which sucks. But, you know, now they're going to their Palafin. You know this story. I'm just gonna take advantage of that. I am Clear Amulet, so your Landorus is not gonna be intimidating me, buddy. We set up the Swords Dance, and I figure he will bring a defensive Landorus, so we just go for the Aqua Cutter and we just kill it. They can go into their Fish. They did bring Adamant Max Speed, which sucks for us. I am gonna go into Landorus just to lower his attack. I'm thinking that he's banded based on the damage that he did to Samurott and the fact that he has Body Slam. We are gonna go to our Insector and try to get ourselves a little bit healthy, just so that we can be able to take more hits. He gets another para with the Thunderbolt, which is annoying, but at least I don't get a full para and I do kill it with the Close Combat. As they go into Glow King, which is annoying, they decide to go for a Sludge Run, trying to catch the Tapu Fini switch. Well, the paralysis is helping, I guess, because that made me slower, which is great. Now the Specs Tapu Fini just destroys the Slow King, and I think we're in a winning position here because he's banded Palafin, which means that he cannot lock into a water move or he will get two-shotted by Tapu Fini. But also, if you don't like, I mean, he must not have Wave Crash, I guess, because otherwise, you know, he should have gone for that. But then again, he could put his own range of the thing. Unfortunately, I'm getting paralyzed. I get paralyzed freaking 2 turns in a row. He just needs one more paralysis and he wins. Thankfully, Caesar just decides to. He's just like, I'm just messing with you, man. And decides to stop getting paralyzed as he's just spamming the Body Slams, and I should be able to kill it with a U-turn into a Bullet Punch. And we barely, narrowly take the 1-0 victory versus this man. Very interesting game. This is going to be the one game where you're gonna see that paralysis actually, the hacks actually ended up playing a factor. It ended up beneficial for the people that ended up getting hacks because I mean I was going to U-turn on that Slowking, and if I didn't get paralyzed, I would have gone to the Fini and he would have caught me on the with the sludge bomb, which guarantees that I lose the game because I don't think I have knockoff on these scissors. Um, and I'm pretty sure his Slowking did have flamethrower. Now, granted, Mega Scissors Slowking is just super slow, but the reason why I ended up underspeeding it after the paralysis is because for some reason I decided to bring Brave 0 EV's speed on these scissors, and I believe the reason was to get the slower U-turn against his own Mega Scissors. I didn't expect him to straight up bring a Source Dance attacking Mega Scissors, which ended up almost costing me the entire game. But yeah, no, I mean, fun coincidence, right? He decides to bring. Uh, he. I decide, and the only way that I underspeed, by the way, even with the paralysis, is if I am exactly these Mega Scissors, because I checked the calculations. If I have been like regular no speed scissors, he will have underspeed me with the Slowking because I will still be faster because the Slowking is just so slow. So you know. Anyways, talking about Slowking, I'm going to take Galarian Slowking. I love this Pokemon. It's so annoying. And again, it gives me a better poison type than the one that I have currently. Um, Regenerator is just a broken ability, so we'll grab it. And yeah, it's the best thing on his team that will fit my team. I mean, of course there are better Pokemon, but I think this is the Pokemon that fits the better on my team, and it fits the most needs that I have. So we're just gonna grab this Slowking and move on to the next game. For week 5, I guess. Let me double check here. Okay, week 5, we're getting paired against another one of our acquaintances. This one is a person. Again, met them on the draft on the Pokemon Podcast server. They have an interesting team, and they definitely bring some threats. They do have the Darkrai, which is scary, and they do have their own terrain. Luckily, that Iron Boulder cannot Terra, and of course they had Flame Body, which is my mortal enemy. So we'll see how this works out. As far as what I'm bringing, I couldn't tell you exactly. Oh, I think I brought the Quillfish because it's my best switch to a Darkrai, quote unquote. It's better. It's a better switch to Darkrai than, Galarian Slowking. But other than that, it's just a bunch of good stuff, right? Anyways, let's take a look at how this plays out. So I'm gonna leave with Quillfish, pretty standard. They're gonna leave with their Heliolisk, which is interesting. They're gonna straight a Hyper Voice and crit me on top of that. That is specs. That is 100% specs. So I mean, I don't have anything to take that hit. So I'm gonna go to my Scarf Landorus. I guess they assume I wasn't gonna Earthquake because they have a Tapu Bulu, but realistically, I needed to scare that out, man. If I didn't scare that out, he was gonna kill another one of my Pokemon. So then they decide to go to their Moltres and U-turn on me, which is a very good play as I go to Shien, Hisui Samurott. I do see that I'm faster because I do recover health faster. So I'm gonna go back to Exodia to intimidate him. They go into the Moltres. I just go for Stone Edge. And yeah, they go into the Slowking, which is annoying because that damage is basically going to be nullified. They're going to go for Future Sight, which is a good thing I have my Dark type inside, I guess. But at this point, they can go into whatever they want. They're going to go into Bulu as I'm just going to Ceaseless Edge because, worst case scenario, I get a second layer Spikes. They don't have very good removals outside Moltres. This is the turn that the Future Sight is gonna hit. So I am actually gonna stay to try to leave it and get rid of his item because I don't want anything else on my team taking that move anyway. And because their turn gives up, and because I guess their terrain goes away, they're not able to kill my Samurai, which is hilarious. And now I'm just messing with them, because I intimidate them, I go out, I know they're not super offensive, so they're not gonna do a lot of damage. And Orcapunk is just gonna set up a Source Dance, man, because, why wouldn't you, right? they're gonna go into the Moltres. Unfortunately for them, they go into the one thing that outspeeds me. Um, so they're gonna lose their speed, and now I get a Trailblaze into that, which means I am a +2, +1, and that this is probably over, to be honest with you. I mean, they don't have anything that outspeeds me unless the Dark Ice Scarf. I don't think the way that they play the Boulder is not a Scarf. I do miss the first Rock Tomb, but because I do have a good amount of bulk, I'm able to leave the Flamethrower, and I do hit the next one. I should just be able to clean out at this point, and the fact that I get a second Turbulence means that not even Scar Darkrai will be able to take me on. But yeah, they have said GG at this point, and they're just gonna, ended up having to take a ton of damage. They ended up taking that, and then Darkrai. I mean, if he's bulky, he should be able to take an Ivy Cudgel, but it is a high crit move, I guess. So we're gonna take a 5 victory, which is fantastic. And yeah, that ended up working out great. I told you this Pokemon was a steal. I mean, it doesn't do a ton, it doesn't sweep every single game, but this is the second game that ended up sweeping my opponent, putting them in a very bad position. So, on the first game we'll have sweep if I didn't miss that first Power Whip. So anyways, this is the last game of the regular season, quote unquote, as we move into playoffs, because we are 4-1 right now with a very good differential in my, if I remember correctly. I mean, we won 4, 4, and 5, and then we lost by 1. So yeah, fantastic. Anyways, we're gonna take one of the Pokemon that they did not decide to bring to this game on their Torn T. Yeah, I can respect why they didn't bring it to this game, but the rules don't say that you had to take one of the Pokemon that they bring to the game. You can take one of the ones from their rosters. So Torn T is gonna be the Pokemon that we're gonna take. Unfortunately for us, you're only allowed to move into playoffs with 3 stolen Pokemon. So we're gonna have to get rid of one of our Pokemon because we did steal 4 of them. After much deliberation, and I appreciate and thank you to Gio for helping me process this, we're gonna end up leaving Megaladios behind, because I do think that Torn, Samurott, and Glowking are more important to our strategy. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. But that's what we're gonna move for. Anyways, so we're moving into top 16, I believe, and we should luckily we didn't have to do what is the word I'm looking for? Luckily we didn't have to do planes, but because we did win 4 games, but so we do go straight into top 16, I guess. Anyways, let's just go into the game. We are facing Martin Beatran. Oh, let's get rid of Torn there. Okay, so we're facing Martin Beatran, which has Tapu Koko, which is a Pokemon that I haven't gotten to face yet. Now, it's not that my opponents didn't bring their Tapu Kokos. This is the first time I'm getting to face Tapu Koko. So this is exciting because I love facing Tapu Koko with Zeraora. Whenever I draft Zeraora, I love facing Tapu Koko. People don't understand that you should not bring Electric Terrain versus Zeraora. Will this work? I don't know, but we'll see. Other than that, they have scary threats like, again, an Iron Valiant, which is good on Electric Terrain, I'll give it that. And another Electric Terrain abuser on the threats. Terrapagos can get out of hand, you have to be handled it properly. And then, the Defogger probably into the Moltres, and annoying for my U-turns, and of course for Scissors, and then, Vaporeon, which is okay. People hate on it too much this generation, but with all its tools, especially Toxic, I think it's a good Pokemon. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at how this goes. Alright, I'm gonna leave with Landorus Tyrion. It's gonna be a basic and live with it. I know that I take one Ice Spinner from an intimidated Iron Threads. I just don't want to mess with it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go for the Air Power. We're bringing a special Landorus this week for some reason. They are just gonna flip turn on me, which is annoying because now we're back to this thing. I will not be able to take an Spinner. I don't want to take 2 Spinners, I guess, so we just go Tapu Fini as they set up their rocks. I'm just gonna defog them. I did not bring hard flame, but I still don't like playing with rocks on my side if I don't have to. They are gonna go just for the U-turn, expecting me to go into the Landorus. For some reason here, though, they decide that they just don't care, I guess. Now, I don't remember if I'm a Scar Landorus. I probably am to outspeed the threats. And maybe because they saw air power, they assumed that I wasn't going to be a Scarf, which was a bad assumption on their side. They are going to take over the terrain, which is annoying, but my Glowking is pretty especially bulky. Glowking making his debut, by the way. So I should be able to take any hits and, you know, just do stuff. They do go into the one of the things I would like to Toxic. Realistically, I want to Toxic everything on his team. I am going to try to Toxic something else because I thought that he was going to U-turn out, but clearly he didn't. Unfortunately for them, they keep missing Hurricanes. At this point, I'm like, okay, well, let's just chill the section out. I'm going to Serora because, I mean, if you're going to let me do that, then so be it. They are going to switch out into the Tapu Koko as I start bulking up. You know, I told you. Look at how much damage that does. That's a resisted hit, man. But thanks to the electric terrain, it's just gonna two-shot that Tapu Koko, no problem. They're gonna go into the Moltres. Unfortunately for them, Plasma Feed is not a contact move, so no chance of getting burned, which is great for me. They are gonna go into the Iron Valiant. They have an attack boost for some reason instead of speed, so I guess, and they don't seem to be Scarf, which is fantastic. I just nuke it, and bye-bye Iron Valiant. Now this is gonna be a misplay on my side. I go for the tongue on this because I don't want it to start Calm Minding. However, I should have gone for the Plasma Fist because it will have nullified both his Terra Storm and his Rapid Spin, and will actually heal me. But I forgot, to be honest. That's the only reason I can tell you. I legitimately forgot that Plasma Fist has that effect. Luckily, we do go to the especially defensive Slowking to Toxic it, and now it's on the clock. We're gonna go into Scissors because we have seen two normal attacks. I'm hoping that his last move is Air Power. If it is Air Power, we take a hit, no problem. Unfortunately, it is Flamethrower, which means that my Scissor is gonna die without doing anything this game, which is fine. It's fine. We're gonna go into Tornadoes, which is bulky enough to take a Terra Sandstorm. And you know, we're just wasting his at this point we're just stalling him, so hopefully the Toxic can take it out. Unfortunately, I get crit in there, which sucks, but the good thing about Regenerator is that you don't care. You just switch out, get back your health, and this is why I didn't want to have rocks on my side, because, you know, I want to be able to freely pivot in and out. They're going to the Vaporeon. This is just not looking very good for them, to be honest with you. They don't have anything that does anything to the Glowking at this point. They're just gonna switch into the Koko here, as I can take a Thunderbolt no problem and just Toxic it. And at this point, I can just pivot in and out. I guess people just don't expect so much Toxic when you're facing a Tapu Fini. Good call on them going for the Dazzling instead of Thunderbolt. Unfortunately for them, it does not enough. Funny to find out that it was Rocky Helmet to chip the Landorus from U-turns, but you know, that's just not enough. Glowking comes in, Vaporeon can do absolutely nothing to it. He's just gonna try to fish for some skulls. Now that it's Toxic, that is pretty much GG's. I thought they forfeit, but I guess they're not going to just yet. I just go to Thunderous, and at this point I can just switch in and out from between Thunderous and Glowking. I'm gonna remove his leftovers to make it faster. He crits me, but that is fine. That's not a problem. They're just gonna give up because they know that there's no point. I'm not one of those people that gets salty when your opponent forfeits. I completely respect not wanting to waste your time on a losing situation when realistically there's 0 outs. So I'm not getting mad about this, and everything is good. Luckily, now that we're on top 16, we are allowed to steal a Pokemon. So we're gonna take one of the Pokemons on their side. I consider taking the Tapu Koko because I love Tapu Koko, but I'm like, not really. Iron Valiant, I don't like that Pokemon, to be honest with you. So we're gonna end up grabbing the Terrapagos because it is a better normal type than my Oinkolong, which still hasn't come to a game, by the way. But you know, for a lot of our team members, we have used the logic of, you know, just take something that replaces something bad or something that is not great on your team, and you know, this fits that, right? Plus it gives me rapid spin, which is great. And as you can see, I mean, I don't think that this is a very good Pokemon, to be honest, but it can get out of hand if your opponent misplays. The problem is that we're going to top 8, which means we're going to be facing good opponents, and I don't think they're going to be making a lot of misplays. But you know, it is what it is. We'll put it on the roster, we'll put it on the deck, and move on to the next game, I guess. And this is gonna be top 8 what is it? Quarterfinals, right? Yeah. We are facing, I don't remember what this guy's name is. Strawbroker. That's their username. Another Tapu Koko, which is great. I hope that they didn't watch my game last week, because you know, hopefully that is electric terrain Tapu Koko. I get it, they have a Valiant, but you know, so be it. Other than that, I actually have some one of my favorite sets that I brought during this game, and you'll see in a minute what it is. That is the good Porygon 2, by the way, the one that has access to teleport, which is exactly what Porygon is missing this generation. But anyway, let's see how this plays out. They are gonna lead with Palafin. Alright, well, if you believe with Palafin, I'm just gonna take advantage of that. And you know, that's what you try to do when you face a Palafin team, right? I'm just gonna spike you up. Not sure why I taunted you here. I guess I was trying to prevent it from teleporting, but they called my bluff and they just decided to, you know, start attacking me, which is gonna. It's a 4-hit KO, but it is a 4-hit KO. Unfortunately, I get frozen, but we are able to thaw out. I don't know if I because you'll fire toss you out, but I just got lucky there, I guess. We do a little bit of damage. I'm gonna go for the power whip just to get some damage. I thought that he was gonna try to attack me. Unfortunately, they're gonna just pivot up, and the Tapu Koko is heavy to boots. The reason why I valued these spikes so much is because I didn't think they were gonna bring any kind of defog. They don't have a spinner on their team, and they don't have a good defensive defogger. So my idea here is, you know, if I set up hazard since the beginning, then they're gonna have issues switching in and out. But this Tapu Koko is just boots, and it really doesn't care. You saw that they are actually gonna show me the defog here, which sucks because my Orgapong is basically dead for no reason. But it's fine. We'll deal with it. If they want to defog here, they're gonna have to deal with my Landorus. Now I know they're not gonna stay in. Unfortunately, the Trace Porygon is annoying. I'm gonna call that they're going for it, and I'm just gonna knock off to remove the Eviolite, which helps at this point. If he wants to attack me, then he can kill the Orgapong. I don't care. They're gonna go for the recover, which is good for them, but at the same time, they don't have the Eviolite, so they're not nearly as bulky anymore. I'm gonna set up a spike again because I am I am a hard headache, and we're just gonna go to our Mega Scissors to hopefully try to one-shot it with the Close Combat now that the Eviolite is gone, and we do, and that's fantastic. I was very happy about that. They're gonna go back into Tapu Koko as I go back into Landorus, and so they're probably just gonna defog or U-turn. They're gonna defogging him because they don't want the spikes. Now I'm calling that he's gonna go into his own Landorus here. So I'm gonna go for the Smackdown because he doesn't have an Intimidator anymore. And now everything on your team is hit by Earthquake. So look at how much damage that does to Palafin. Granted, I would have preferred that it kills it, but it didn't. Anyways, they're just gonna flip to ramp. Pretty sure by the amount of damage that they're doing that is a banded Palafin, which is annoying, but it is manageable. I'm gonna reveal the no, I did reveal the Protect before, but you know, I am gonna use it to recover a little bit of health because unfortunately, you know, Tapu Fini doesn't get the recovery. I should have gone Landorus there, but I didn't want him to U-turn into the Palafin, so I'm gonna go into Scissors because it's fairly good. It's fairly especially defensive, and I'm able to take 2 Thunderbolts no problem. Roost out damage. I do wanna keep it healthy for that Valiant. As they go into their challenge, and they're gonna take a huge amount of damage with the Close Combat. They should be able to two-shot it even through the defense boost. So I'm gonna assume that they're just gonna switch out into Tapu Koko or Valiant, and either one will be fine. Unfortunately, they do have Rocks up, but that's fine. Same scenario, dude. You keep doing that, I'm just gonna keep uh, clicking Smackdown, and again, they're gonna have to sack something on their team because nothing takes an Earthquake at this point. They're gonna go into their Palafin once again. I'm expecting them to go for Jet Punch. They're actually going to go for a huge Wave Crash, but which does almost half to my Tapu Fini, but it ended up killing itself, which is perfect. I mean, I am not gonna complain about that. In here, maybe I should have gone for Protect, but I didn't want him to do shenanigans. He actually expected me to go for Protect, so he goes for Calm Mind and reveals that he's a Calm Mind. Said, unfortunately for him, I am Assault Vested, so I take that no problem, and I remove his Life Orb, so he should not be able to do as much damage anymore. And I'm just gonna kill it with the U-turn, which is insulting. At this point, I think I should have gone into Slowking because realistically it's versus the two fairies. I went to Scissors because I guess I didn't want him to go into Valiant, which is annoying. You know, I guess I was trying to throw, but you know, at this point, you know, I want Zeraora versus In versus Tapu Koko, so I'm gonna sack my Landers to the spikes, to the rocks, so I can kill the Tapu Koko in one hit because it is boosted. And they're gonna show me that they are specially boosting. I don't care if you kill me with a Moonblast. They're actually gonna show me their Source Dance. Unfortunately for them, I am the one set that one-shots that Valiant, which is Choice Bandit Zeraora. They revealed to me after the game that they actually had Drain Punch on that, which is terrifying because if I wasn't Choice Band, I wouldn't have killed it, and then he would have recovered all his health. My Slowking was not Colbert, so it would have died. And on top of that, they were Babiri, so if my Scissor didn't get paralyzed, it would have probably died to... it wouldn't have killed it with a Bullet Punch because I'm not at a max attack. So unfortunate for them that I decided to bring the Choice Band Zeraora, but it looks so good versus his team. So, you know, it is what it is. This is going to be the last chance that we get to take one of the regular quote-unquote Pokemon out of our opponent's team. So after looking at his team and just judging by the amount of trouble that he gave me during prep, I'm going to go ahead and grab my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon, Palafin, because I love Palafin. It is a little bit of a liability on that one free turn because a good player will be able to take advantage of it, but also a good player will be able to, you know, try not to let too much momentum be lost from that one turn. But yeah, I didn't necessarily like any of the other Pokemon on his team. Again, I'm tempted to take the Tapu Koko, but you know, Zeraora is better in my team. I wasn't gonna take a Porygon too because that's just not a top Pokemon. It's a good pivot, but it's not a top Pokemon, and I don't like a Shalom without Terra or Rain. So yeah, that is not it. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take the Palafin. Now, here's a plot twist. If you watch the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, you will know that there was an added stipulation, I guess, or an added drama to the Battle City arc, in the fact that the 3 of the last 4 finalists have these things called the God cards, which were Egyptian God cards, which were basically the most powerful cards on the game. And essentially what this whole thing was, it was a scheme by the creator to try to get his hands into all those into all the God cards, because he was given one and then he wanted to get the other 2. So that's why he created this tournament. And in order to make it representative, what the creators of this tournament decided to do is, once you get to the top 4, those four coaches get to decide. They get to pick a god to representing on the finals. So essentially, you add one more Pokemon to your team that you're not stealing from another roster. You're actually grabbing for a selected pool of quote-unquote God Pokemon, which are essentially Ubers. Everybody gets one. You're not allowed to have the same as your opponent. Nobody's allowed to have repeated. So if essentially we had to send the mods our pick for what do we wanted, and if you selected the same as the Pokemon that if two coaches or more selected the same Pokemon, then that Pokemon will be out of contention, and then both coaches will have to pick something different, and this will continue until everybody selects something different, right? And now keep in mind that Pokemon on this tier included stuff like Dragon Ball, because for some reason they didn't have it in the regular season. Included stuff like Deoxys, just the regular form, because apparently people think that is very good. I do not agree. Chiampao, which is broken, I agree. But it also included like Megas, like Mega Alakazam, which people think that is good. I think it's good, I just don't think it's broken. It did include Megalarias, which is incredibly scary, but it needs Terra, to be honest. Well, Larias needs Terra. I guess people think it's better than Megalarios because Megalarios was allowed. Included Clear and Black, which with the Gen 9, even Gen 8 upgrades, right, of Dragon Dance and Icicle Spear, which is incredibly scary. Stuff like Pheromosa, Spectrier. But it also included incredibly broken stuff like Giratina. Origin is actually allowed on this. Palkia is actually allowed on this. Lugia is actually allowed on this. This was gonna be a mess. But anyways, after a little bit of deliberation, turns out that not a lot of people, nobody ended up picking the same thing. All four of us picked 4 different Pokemon, and they did make this nice little graphic that I'm gonna show you that shows 4 Pokemon that were selected. 2 dragons, 2 machines. One of them selected Genesect, which is a great Pokemon, but I just don't think it's on the same caliber as the other 3. The other 2 being the 2 dragons on Palkia, which is incredibly scary, Giratina, which is incredibly bulky, and my personal pick, Magearna, because I love Magearna. I won my first draft league ever with Magearna on my roster on Gen 7, and I got body with a something with a Magearna on a league earlier this generation, because this Pokemon is just great. Plus, it's just a fantastic Pokemon. I almost grab Floroming. I almost go with Floroming because I love me some Floroming, but for the playstyle of the team that I have, I thought that Magearna was a better selection, and especially I just knew that if my opponents, if people were gonna go for the dragons, I needed to grab good Fairy, and Fairy and Steel, that's the best type in the game, type combination of the game, right? There's no reason not to grab it. Now, you had to keep in mind that every one of the semifinalists is getting one of these Pokemon, and when they, essentially, when finals come, the 2 people facing in finals are gonna have 2 each of these Pokemon, which is incredibly annoying to prep for. So I mean, it is already kind of annoying to prep for, because at this point we all have like 10, no, we all have, let me see, 8 plus 3 is 11 plus 2. Everybody has 15 Pokemon on their team right now, right? For this match I had to prep for 15 Pokemon, which I had never had to do. Because it is not ladder, because ladder has everything, but it's also not draft, because you cannot prepare for everything. So my approach to this prep has been, just bring the best thing that you can bring and try to do your thing before your opponent can do their thing, which has been working out. But now you're gonna add Ubers to this thing, dude. This is so annoying. Anyways, we signed up for it, so now we're gonna do it. But yeah, we're taking Magearna, Magi, one of my favorite Pokemon, as the rest of my team, I guess. And we're gonna go ahead and move into semifinals. We are facing Schmeed. I don't know how you say your name, dude. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. Who actually took the Genesect, which they actually took the Genesect, so it's gonna be robots versus robots and dragons versus dragons, because the other semifinal has Giratina versus Palkia, obviously. They have a Rillaboom on the roster, but they decided not to bring it, which is good for me because I decided to bring the last addition to my team on Palafin, making his debut. Of course, I'm bringing Magearna. Magearna is broken. Why the heck not would I not bring it? And as far as the rest of my team, I just decided to bring, good pivots and bulky regenerators, and try to empower try to enable my sweepers into the Landorus or the Magearna or the Zeraora. I actually don't think I am a sweeper Landorus, but it could be. He doesn't know that. Orgapong is annoying. Tornadoes, he has one of his own as well. Ursaluna is not as scary as Blood Moon, but I had to be careful about how I play against it. And then they have a Hydran, which is always gonna burn me, because that's just how it works with Hydrans versus me. And then the Pokemon that I did not expect them to bring was the Galarian Weezing. I can tell you that much, just because it's not a, you don't bring a Galarian Weezing to an Ubers game, but at the same time it's a good defogger and it was the crap out of my Landorus, so good on them, man, for bringing it. But anyways, like I said, at this point I had to prepare for 16 Pokemon because this includes the Genesect. So at this point, you just bring the best thing you can and try to do the best you can, and hopefully, you can do your thing before your opponent does. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at how this ended up playing out. They're gonna leave with the Thunderous, and I'm gonna leave with my Atlantean, and I'm trying not to give them momentum. So this is exactly why I go to my Necrofear, activate my Jack pack, and now I have the momentum. This is exactly what I plan to do since the thing. So now we get a free hit with Magearna. He's not going to bring his Ursaluna versus Magearna, so I'm just gonna ball switch. I am choice spec, so I'm gonna do a ton of damage to a basically especially defensive Hydran. And of course they're not gonna stay versus Landers, so I'm just gonna set up Stealth Rocks. I see that thing's levitate, so I'm not gonna stay in. They're gonna defog my staff, which sucks. I don't expect you to go into the thing, so I'm just gonna Floor Canyon, do a ton of damage to an Assault Vest or Saluna. But because they don't have the guts activated, this is a lot less scary. I'm actually Rocky Helmet Landorus, which is good for me because it takes even more damage. Unfortunately, their Weezing is also Rocky Helmet, which is annoying. I'm gonna go into my Necrofear, expecting just to go for the future side. I expect them to go for an attack for a ground type attack, so I'm gonna go back into the Tornadoes. At this point, we're just pivoting in and out, in and out. But he's gonna give me the Ursaluna here on the future side because he didn't bring a Dark type, which is good for me. I don't know why he didn't go to Hydran, but in any case, I'm not gonna stay in because I don't have any way to hit this Hydran with the Slowking. I go Palafin because he can take hits from the Hydran at all times. I know that he's not going to stay in because I know that his switch to Palafin is this Rocky Helmet Weezing. The best thing I could do to it is Wave Crash, and I will probably kill myself in killing it. I don't want to get that exchange. I'm going to remove his own rocks too, because if you're not going to have rocks on your side, I'm not going to have rocks on my side. I go to my bird up. I kind of wanted to scout for any toxic, but he just goes into his own Tornadoes, and that's fine. I am relatively specially defensive, so I don't have a problem taking that hit. But now he has to select what he wants to do versus, Magearna, which he doesn't have the ground tag anymore. I get free ball switches every time Magearna comes in, and he still doesn't know what my 4 moves are, so, he cannot risk it. Unfortunately for me, the Weezing is a perfect switch into the Landorus, and maybe I'm not playing this very well, but they're actually going to try to catch me going into something else, so they don't kill me with the thing. I know they're going to defog because they have been paranoid about removing rocks, which gives me a free switch into Magearna. I'm just gonna go for the ball switch. Unbelievably, this Tornado takes the hit, which makes me think that he's probably Assault Vest on that thing. I know they're not gonna stay in, so I'm gonna go back into Helioctile to get another free hit. They took it. It is a 2-shot, which is good. Not sure why they expected me to switch into, but they just go for a Sludge Wave, and at this point I can see they have 3 attacks plus defog. Makes things a lot easier for me. They go into their Genesect. As I see they get the special boost. I am a especially defensive Slowking, so I can take that hit no problem. I'm going to switch into Landers here, because if he says Stealth Rocks, I want to be in at least. As I'm going to remove them, expecting to kill me, but he misses the Magma Storm, which is good for me. He risks his thing though, so maybe I should just go for Stealth Rocks, but I decide to try to kill it because it is annoying. He's gonna go into his Orgapon, expecting me to air power, which is a good play on them. And we're back to this situation. I just gonna switch out into Exodia, and we're playing the same game, right? I should have defogging here, but for some reason I decided to air power, which was a bad play because I give him my Landarus, and I also give him help on his tornadoes. Bad play overall. Don't play like me, kids. They're gonna go into a Genesect. I'm gonna go into my Negrophere. He doesn't get a boost, that's why I went to the Slowking. Should be able to take any hit. I'm actually gonna set up the future side because I'm gonna try to set up a trap for that Weezing. Because he cannot really do anything to the Palafin with the things. So I'm expecting him to switch into Weezing or to Orgapon. The only thing that can take the close combat from this Choice Banded Palafin is the Weezing, but then, you know, you're just gonna die to the thing. You could have it, he could have stayed with the hit run, but you know, he will have died and hopefully not burn me. They're gonna go into the Orgapon. I should have just close combat. I gave him this opportunity, and this is horrible, dude, because if this thing has Trailblaze, because I didn't kill him with a Sludge Bomb, I lose the game immediately. Thank God he didn't have it. So I am able to peacefully go into my Zeraora and completely outspeed it and just go for the Plasma Feed. Dude, I was so scared that one turn my entire tournament could have ended right there if he had Trailblaze. They're gonna go into this thing, which gets an special boost, so I don't want to take that chance, and so I'm just gonna go to my boots up. They're gonna go to their own tornadoes as well. Gonna try to kill me, but like I said, I'm relatively specially defensive, so they're actually not gonna kill me. And we got a free Magirna. Something is dying right now, so we're just gonna get the wall switch. They're gonna give me the Orgapon, which sucks for them because this just frees up Palafin's Jet Punch. Like, that was the only reason why I wasn't clicking Jet Punch. So at this point, I can just Jet Punch it. And I never seen a Tornadoes take that much. So that's why I'm thinking that it was offensive and assault vest. He's gonna get the special boost, and it seems like he's physical. So he's not able to kill me, and I'm just gonna be able to two-shot it with the Jet Punch, which is great. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, Palafin is gonna take us to the finals, dude, which is fantastic. I mean, you know, there's no complaints, right? I mean, that was a clean game for us. I did have, you know, some misplays. I'm not gonna say that I didn't, because I did. But at the same time, you know, I think we executed relatively well. And you know, especially my favorite part of the game was setting the trap for the Slowking. And now, granted, I don't know if it was actual trap or he just decided that he wanted to let it go. But you know, I don't care at that point, right? I was either gonna take out one of his Pokemon was gonna die that turn, no matter what. So it came down to what he wanted to give me. But yeah, that Orgapon, dude. Like I said, if that Orgapon had freaking Terrablaze, that was game over. I didn't have anything else to speed it. I cannot Jet Punch it. It was game over. Because he could have killed my my Slowking with Trailblaze at that range, but I guess he needed the Power Whip or Horn Leech or Woodhammer for the Palafin, because it should be able to take one Terrablaze. In theory, I can take one Terrablaze, or you want to be able to kill the Palafin without needing to set up the Swords. And so, I mean, I respect that, but you know what? We'll take the victories when we can get them right. Anyways, now we have these two Ubers. I mean, I guess I could have, in theory, take another one of his Pokemons, but I mean, you have to take the God. I have a better Steel. I have enough Steel types on my team, but you know, at this point, I'm not gonna complain. I'm gonna take the Uber, and we're gonna move to finals, because you know, that's just in the spirit of the game. Granted, one last thing I'm gonna say about this game that I didn't notice when we were playing the game, because you wouldn't notice this if you're playing on cartridge, you wouldn't notice this. But apparently Showdown does tells you this, and I never knew this. But this Genesect over here, the game actually tells you that it is Burn Genesect. So The entire game I was playing against Genesect like he was Scarf, because I think it's the best set for Genesect. But turns out it was the burn drive for Magirna. So yeah, next time I play Genesect, I don't know if that is ever gonna happen, but next time I'll know, I guess. But yeah, it is hilarious that I didn't know that. And it's hilarious that you know, Shodan tells you that, because if you're playing the game, you will have to like pay close attention to his drive, and so hard to tell, and you wouldn't even trust yourself when you see that. So yeah, that's just I guess if you didn't know, now you know. But anyways, final times. What about that? Now before I show you the finals game, I'm gonna show you something else. Where is it? So this is the matchup for the finals game. My opponent has a Giratina and a Palkia. Actually, this is not the matchup for the final game. This is the matchup that I could fit in here. As you can see, my Onkalong is not in here. My Drifling is not in here. Because I just decided to leave them out because I needed space to fit my stuff. So I only included the Pokemons that my opponent could bring, that I thought that would make sense to bring to this matchup. But yeah, he has 2 freaking Ubers. He has 3 Ubers technically, because that freaking Gouging Fire is an Uber now, and even without Terra, I think that Pokemon is incredibly annoying. So you know, 3 dragons. It's just an overall super solid thing. He does have his own tornadoes. He does have you know, quote unquote the best Pokemon Jet 9 on Great Toss, which I think was his first overall pick on his draft. So you know, if he brings it and I bring Landorus, this is gonna be a showdown of who is the real best Pokemon on Gen 9, right? They also have good fairies on the, you know, Primarina and the Unaware Fable. They have the Rillaboom, which is annoying for Palafin, and my other 2 other types. And you know, Mach is decent for Magirna, but they also have Goldingo. And realistically, I'm gonna be honest with you, when preparing for this game, Goldingo is the Pokemon that I was scared the most. He has such a good matchup versus my team. It's not even funny. The only thing on my team that has a relatively good matchup versus it is the Orgapon, and even then, I mean, I guess the Landorus, but you know, if it is like a Berry or Balloon, it's annoying. Dude, prepping for this game was so hard. So yeah, I mean, and the fact that he has Goldingo and Deoxys is terrifying, because you know, Deoxys can't just stack you, and you cannot spin or defog with a Goldingo on the other side, which makes it even more scary. He had other Pokemons on this roster that are just not added here because I didn't have enough space, but you know, this is what I thought he was gonna, these are some of the Pokemons that I thought he was gonna bring. Yeah, at the end of the day, at this point, like I said before, I just need to bring the best thing that I can bring, and hopefully, you know, I can get you know, do my thing before they do theirs. All right, time to get into the finals game. These are the teams that we both ended up bringing. I decided to bring my Region Corp because I expected to have to do a lot of switching. I decided to bring one of my gods in Magirna, and I didn't bring my fake god on the Bog Steel Ganasek. I decided to bring my Mega Scissors because that's a real god, and then Landorus because I want to see who is the best ground type in the game. Unsurprisingly, he brought the Gratos. And he brought the exact combination that I was very scared that he was going to bring into the Ganasek and the Goldingo, the Deoxys Speed and the Goldingo, because I had nothing to prevent that Deoxys to hazard stacking me. And if he does, then this game is going to be horrible for me. And then he brought 3 freaking dragons. In the 3 Uber dragons into the Palkia, the Giratina, and the Gouging Fire. So you know, this is terrifying. My opponent is Sambo. I believe I seen him around on the showdown scene. I think he's good. I mean, he has to be good to make it this far into a tournament, right? Regardless. But yeah, man, I when you look at these 2 teams, there's clearly a disbalance of power in here. So I'm just gonna have to do my best and try to figure out how to navigate this because, you know, yeah, this is just looking rough. Now I am going to play this on slow, just so I can talk about everything that goes on. The last few games have been a little bit too fast for me to be able to talk everything about what's going on and whatnot. I'll try to explain my thoughts and the reason why I make certain plays. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start. And before I play start, I guess, I'm gonna say this much. My lead, if he brought the Deoxys, my lead was always going to be the Scissors. Because number one, gives me the opportunity to make evolve immediately, which makes me a low ball here. Number two, can prevent him from setting at least one layer of hazards, but I can kill him by going for a knockoff into a bullet punch. There's no amount of Deoxys speed, so I will be able to at least prevent him from setting up more than one layer of something. And if I had to play with that one layer, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I prefer than having to play with like 3-layer spikes and rocks, right? Luckily, Deoxys doesn't get Fire Blast or Flamethrower. The only move that it gets to fire move without hidden power is Fire Punch. So my Scissors is relatively defensive. It's actually pretty defensive on both sides. It doesn't have a lot of investment on attack. So I should be able to leave even an Adamant Life Orb Fire Punch from Deoxys, from full. And again, we just go for the knockoff into the bullet punch and hopefully eliminate it, and then we have to deal with the other 5 threats on this freaking team. So anyways, he brought the Deoxys, so we are going to lead with the Scissors because that's the plan. You know, they can choose to live with whatever they want, but you know, I'm just gonna do my own thing. They're actually gonna live with the Goldingo, which is fine. I know they're going to be nasty plot something, but you know, there's not much I can do. I'm gonna terrestrialize my Scissors, sorry, Mega Ball my Scissors, and actually gonna go for the knockoff. I guess they expected me to go for U-turn. But I just want to put damage on that Goldingo if he wants to go for like a nasty plot. At this point, we're gonna see that they are actually. Oh, I went for the U-turn. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. I went for the U-turn because I wanted to see what it is. I'm gonna go into my Marinesas because he can take hits from the thing. As they're gonna go back into Goldingo because it's such a safe switch. Thankfully, luckily for me, I do get the burn. As you can see, I am telepathy Marinesas because. Spoiler alert, I want things status on this game. Luckily, I get the burn, which is going to neutralize a little bit of those leftovers, as my opponent is going to do exactly what I feared them to do. And now they have Nasty Blood Goldingos. This is just Nasty Blood to attack, which I assume is, you know, dual stuff, because, again, I have a horrible matchup against that. I go into my Insector, I just want to put damage this time. On it, so I'm gonna go for my knockoff, and luckily I do get to remove the leftovers on the Kratos, which is good because it doesn't get any recovery. I guess they call me into going hard into one of my 2 flying types. No sir, I'm just gonna U-turn because that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. If to have the I can take their hits unless he has specifically the fire move, which obviously they do not have. I go into my Burab. I know that he's not going to let me take his Kratos here. So I'm just going to go ahead and U-turn out. As they bring the first monster. Well, at least I can go into Magirna. I'm calling him to go into Goldingo here. They do not. They actually show me Poltergeist, which hits like a truck. I didn't even know this thing gets Poltergeist. And I go for my Shadow Ball, which doesn't do anything, which is unfortunate. And on top of that, they see my Shuka Berry, which I was trying to bait in the Kratos. So now they know they can freely go into Goldingo, because at this point, I'm like, well, if you're gonna put damage on my Magirna, at least I'm gonna kill your Giratina. But yeah, the Goldingo doesn't take a whole lot of damage, and now I'm up -2 special attack, so I need to switch out. I know they're going to recover because, you know, said, this Goldingo has an incredible match against me, so it's their best benefit to be able to bring it in against things that can do nothing to it. Um, so he's gonna recover. I don't expect him to stay in because, you know, obviously the fact that he recovered instead of attacking tells me that they value the health on that thing. So I'm gonna call that they're gonna switch out and go for the U-turn, and slowly but surely we're chipping out this Kratos. Now, I'm thinking that he's either gonna stay in, calling me to switch out and try to set up Stealth Rocks, or going to Giratina again. So I'm gonna try to put on some damage on the Giratina since we saw there is no leftovers. Good play on them going to the Goldingo, but the main reason why I didn't mind about this is because I assume that if they bring the Goldingo, they're gonna nasty blood. But I do have some offensive investment, and in theory, I should be able to kill it with the damage that it has taken with 2 hit waves. Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss the first one, and they get a free nasty blood, which sucks, dude. Which sucks so much. But you know, that's the game what it is. At this point, I can either hit wave or do what I'm actually gonna do, which is just knock off to remove the leftovers. I know I'm going to lose my bird up. Unfortunately, I took out the assault vest that I considered bringing. They show me that they're actually Thunderbolt, so that tells me they probably don't have Shadow Ball. But you know, I do have a lot of water types and the tornado, so it makes sense. I guess he has that. It is what it is. You know, I figure that I knew I was gonna lose something, so I figured that the less important member of my team right now was the Tornadoes. I'm gonna go into Landorus, and I'm not gonna mess around, dude. I just wanna kill this thing. So I'm just gonna go for the Earthquake. Surprisingly, they didn't go to the Kratos. Maybe they fear getting two-shotted from there. But they let me kill the Goldingo. Now, this makes sense because now this gives them a free switch into the Palkia, which even if I am a Scarf, you know, I will never one-shot with a Landorus. But I do have a super special defensive Slowking. Unfortunately, that shows me that he's specs, which sucks. At least I'm able to take 2 hits, and on the second hit I can get a poison, which is, you know, again, one of the reasons why I didn't want Tapu Fini with terrain. So it is on a timer, but it is on a slow timer, and he has a lot of switch initiatives that he can do. He's just gonna keep going for the serves. Luckily, Marinsas is able to only take 30 something from it, which is terrible. But at least we get some recovery. As they're gonna switch out, I am going to protect here, I believe, just to try to get some recovery back. In hindsight, I should have probably go for something else because I should have assumed that. Yeah, I knew they were specs, so they were gonna have to switch into something else. But at this point, I'm going to try to catch that gouging fire with a toxic as they switch into the Deoxys, which sucks because the Deoxys is one thing that doesn't care about being toxic on this team at this point of the game. But yeah, in here I could protect to recover some health, but I'm calling him to try to stack me right now. So I'm just gonna hard go into Scissor, and we're gonna go back into the strategy. They're actually gonna spike me up, so which sucks because, you know, it is what it is. But at least it's not a Stealth Rock, so Landorus is not gonna be taking damage, I suppose. But you know, back to the strategy. There is the Fire Punch. They do a ton of damage, but I took it like a champ, and we actually gonna go for the U-turn because that should kill it, or at least it should get me out of the way if they decide to go into the gouging fire. But yeah, good thing. This took me a while to think about into what to go into because I had to be very careful about what I go into in order to not let him do things. Ultimately, I decided to go into Marinsas to not let him go into the Palkia, because if I let him go into the Palkia, if I go into any of my other Pokemon, he goes into Palkia and I just take a ton of damage, or I lose a Pokemon. So it was a good play to go into Marinsas, in my opinion. He's gonna go into the Galaxy Tyranno. I didn't want shenanigans, so instead of protecting, I just went into Exodia. Maybe I should have protected now that I think about it. But I want to get rid of the spikes as soon as possible, dude. So, and you know, given that I took the damage, but then he's gonna show me the freaking Dark Meteor, so this thing is mixed, which sucks for me because, you know, now I lost my best switch to intimidate the Kratos or the Gouging Fire, which sucks, but at least I intimidated this damn thing. Turns out it is Griever's ore, so that's why these attacks are doing so much. But luckily, I did get an Intimidate, so he is not able to even have a roll to kill me, and I'm gonna be able to kill his first Uber with my Magirna. Um, Thanks to Flare Canyon being such a positive move. He has a number of options in here, but I know that he's going to go into the Gouging Fire. I knew that clicking the Flare Canyon was going to be a liability, but you know, I don't have a choice. And of course he's going to start setting up because that's what this stupid Pokemon does. If I Flare Canyon there, I lose the game immediately, so I'm going to Ball Switch out to at least try to get a little bit of damage. And you know, we're going back to the drawing board, right? I need to Toxic this. I don't think he'll bring Substitute, so I should be able to take any hits that he goes for right now. He shows me Thunderfang, which I didn't even know that this thing gets, but unfortunately that does so much damage. Thank goodness I don't miss the Toxic. And now we're back to this game now. Two of his dragons are Toxic, and I just had to find a way to stall him out, which I don't know if it's possible at this point. I was expecting him to call that I'm going for a Protect and try to Dragon Dance again. And maybe I should have just gone, maybe I should have attacked, but you know, I didn't want to take another Thunderfang. So I guess this was the middle ground play. I really don't need the Necrofield right now just because it's so low that he wouldn't be able to take on the Palkia anyway. I do not have a Slack off on it. I was hoping that he will have Fire Blitz and do some damage to himself, but unfortunately he has Kid Crash. Anyway, this thing is a +2/+2 now. So this is probably over at this point, but I'm gonna do my best to try to, you know, whittle the storm. We're gonna go for Protect with the Marinces as they are going to just try to kill me with the Thunderfang, and you know, judging by how much damage he did before, he should be able to kill me. One-shot me with a +2 right now. The Toxic is doing his job, but it's taking too long, dude. At this point, I just need to find another sack, so I'm gonna go into the Scissors, into my Mega Scissors, as they are not gonna call that, and they're just going for Thunderfang. I'm shocked to see that I actually leave, because I fully expect to die, but that's perfect for me, because now I can just Bullet Punch kill this if he decides to stay in, which they do. Spoiler, I guess. Which I'm sure you never seen a Mega Scissors kill a Gouging Fire, but there we go. Alright, good job, Mega Scissors. Already paying off better than Genesect. But I still had this monster to deal with because my team is so wear down with this thing. Like I said, it's specs. I'm just gonna go for the Bullet Punch for a little bit of cheat damage because I can do nothing. And they're gonna lock themselves into Thunderbolt, which is exactly what I didn't want to happen. If they lock themselves into any of his stabs, Tapu Fini can wall it. And I know that this thing has, I knew that this thing has Thunderbolt, but you know, sometimes you just had to hope, right? So we're gonna go to Marinces here. I had to Protect. I don't have a choice. I'm trying to stall out these freaking Toxic turns, but they're taking way too long, dude. Whenever it happens to me, they don't take any time at all. But whenever it's to my opponents, you know, they take too long. I get a little bit of recovery back. It is what it is. I had to sack my Gearna here. I don't have a choice. I'm not gonna be able to take that hit, or if I take it, even if I take it, the Kratos just kills both of my Pokemon. I don't have Trick Room on this, and even if I did, I don't have a way to set it up. So I'm sorry, Magirna, but there goes my Uber, and now it is Tapu Fini versus the War. Thankfully, the Toxic is doing his job, but like I said, it's taking too long. So I'm gonna go into my Marinces. Now here is the important play. I'm calling him to switch out because if I Protect, I'm assuming that Toxic is gonna kill it, and then I win the game. And I unbelievably called that properly, and they switch out, and I'm like, oh, okay, I have a chance. If they don't switch out, they just Toxic, they win the game. They Thunderbolt there, they win the game. I'm still not out of the hook though. The Thunderbolt actually has over 50% chance to one-shot me here, so I have to Protect. As they're gonna Thunderbolt, lock into Thunderbolt, I assume. I don't think they have Thunder. I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna go back to 66, 76, and 77 is the minimum that that it does. So I have to go for a double Protect, dude. I don't have another play, and unbelievably, I get it. I mean, it is a 50%, so it is a 50-50, but you know, It is what it is. Now I'm 82. There is a 50% literally that he one-shots me with the Thunderbolt. So he's gonna go for the Thunderbolt. Tapu Fini is gonna take it with 5% left and finish off the Palkia with a Moonblast to pick up the finals victory at 1-0 and win the entire damn thing for us. What an unbelievable performance from Tapu Fini, dude. I was speechless after this. I think that I don't think I play badly. I think I played to the best of my abilities here. I still needed luck to be able to win this because I needed to pull a double protect and I needed to get a 50% roll. So those were two 50-50s in a row, and thankfully I managed to get them. And yeah, man, dude, I'm so happy. I was so happy that that worked out. I'm so happy to win this tournament on the back of my team. If you are keeping track, 3 of the Pokemon that I brought in the finals were originally drafted by me, and then 2 that I stole, and then one of my gods. So it is a good representation of the entire thing, in my opinion. But it also the fact that it is a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and I love Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot of the people that were in the tournament just were playing for fun, and they don't even know what Yu-Gi-Oh is. But I love my Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm so happy. And I guess the cards helped me on those last few turns, because, like I said, even though I think I play well, I think I play out of my mind. I'm not being redundant here. I don't be facetious. I'm not exaggerating. This is the best game. This is hands down the best game that I have ever played in my Pokemon draft career. I cannot think of a single other game that have been better than this game. So I am extremely proud of this victory. I am extremely happy to have won this game. I'm extremely happy to be the champion of this Battle City tournament. It was just a ride, dude. I just joined this tournament to have fun and play with some broken Pokemon, and I ended up getting way more than what I asked for. I'll say this much though, I'm never doing this again. I'm never putting myself in a position of having to prep for freaking 15 Pokemon for a draft league, dude. That was incredibly painful. But ultimately, we're gonna take the victory. We're gonna be the champions, and we're gonna retire from Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments in Pokemon for the foreseeable future. I do want to show this real quick. These are just the stats for the Pokemon that we use during this season, because I like to keep track of my stuff on J9 just for fun, I guess, to see how I do and how I done. According to this thing, my MVP was Tapu Fini. Sorry, my MVP was Landorus Tyrion, because it was the only Pokemon that came to all 9 games. So given the number of games played and the kills and deaths, it ends up being my MVP by 1 point over Tapu Fini that has 40 points, which is the only other Pokemon that came to it's the second Pokemon that came to the most games with 8. After that you have the Mega Scissors and then Zeraora. But yeah, I hope this ends the argument of which one is the best Pokemon in the game. It's not Gratos, it's Landorus. Tapu Fini, absolute monster. But yeah, man, this has been an experience. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much to the CDL guys for having me on this. I don't know if I'll be back for the regular season or if they will even allow me to play on it. But if I don't, I can say that I have one of the most funs of my draft career playing on this particular tournament, because it ended mixing 2 of the 3 things that I love the most as far as hobbies and my likes, which is Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and professional wrestling. And professional wrestling didn't have anything to do in this, but it did have the other 2. And I got to use some of my favorite Pokemon. It was just a ride, dude. So anyway, if you make it this far, thank you for watching. This has been, like I said, this is a bit different than the videos that I usually do, and this is super long, I'm sure. But you know, I have fun talking about it. I have fun showing it to you. Now, yeah, I mean, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, I guess you can let me know in the comments what your favorite deck, your favorite card is. Um, but anyways, you know, like I said, the channel posts I post a lot of drag leaf games, mostly Wi-Fi. So if you want to keep watching, you know, and have fun, then feel free to stick around, sub, and all of that. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next time. Bye now.